Welcome to Sacred Success Salon, where you get to discover how to own your power and confidence so you can live your purpose and prosperity. I am your hostess, Anna Kowalska, and today we are speaking with Zari. Welcome, Zari.
Thank you.
Yeah, so great to have you. Let me introduce you to our audience. So Zari is an energy healer, a body worker. She's working with life force energy, sacred sexuality, creativity as medicine, these being a gateway to self-realization, reaching your full potential, which we're speaking a lot about, optimum health, and reconnection to our true essence. Zari is a hypnotherapist. She's trained in EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, Tantra meditation, TRE, trauma release exercises, breathwork, and spiritual healing. Oh, Zari, that's a big list of tremendous. Yeah, it's amazing. Zari's healing work has changed and touched lives of people worldwide through her work in India, Bali, Thailand, South America, Europe, England, and Australia. She's in Brazil right now, right? You're still in Brazil?
I am.
Yeah, and that's why you see a beautiful background.
In
Zari
the
hotel. Yes, Zari has made a special appearance for us while she's on her tour. Let me just finish this so I can, because this is really important. Zari's current focus is around the Me Too movement, helping to restore empowerment, love, and conscious awareness to men and women. I really wanted to make sure that I present that because our conversation is going to be centered around the healing and the experience you had for yourself that opened you even more to the work that you're here to do, to your purpose work. So Zari, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, and let's just dive into it. Share with us about your experience, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay, probably to begin would be before. I subconsciously was living with trauma in my body for maybe around 25 years. I had no conscious memory of what had happened to me in my earlier years. It just been shelved and stored for my survival, but my body remembered. So I was going into situations, whether it was relationships or whether it was just, say, for example, walking down the street, and I was becoming hyper aroused, becoming on edge. I was being afraid of certain things, or maybe in sexual relationships, certain things would trigger me and I felt my body would shut down. And I really did not know what was happening for me. And one of the most significant things that was a struggle for me and frustration was really probably with my career and with my success and with my work as well, because although I had, I was doing lots of things and I was really, I was good at what I was doing, there was something that just kept blocking me in terms of stepping out, I think, and being seen and being in the power and being in my full potential. It was almost like something was shutting me down, and it was like a defense mechanisms were kicking in. So I was experiencing life where my soul was really wanting to do the work, to really give what I had to offer, but for some reason I was being shut down and I didn't understand why. So that for me was very confusing, and I spent a lot of time on the spiritual path, maybe 20 plus years, going around the world, doing lots of groups, courses, going to visit teachers and gurus and learning all about the spiritual concepts. So I understood when I eventually discovered what it was, and that I'd had some childhood trauma, sexual trauma, and then some trauma in my later years that I had around 2021 that I just kind of blocked out. When that came into awareness for me, it really changed so much because everything started to make sense. Okay, I could put the pieces together. And then what happened from that really was a really deep healing process of cleaning the body and releasing my body from what was a frozen state.
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, as I become to understand, became to study, to work and to study in trauma, that the body would go into our automatic fight flight mechanisms for us to survive. But when we didn't have the responses or the ability to fight or flight, the system would just flood and freeze. So if we were in a situation where we weren't physically strong enough to escape, or we were too young to understand or even be able to comprehend speaking out or running away or fighting, as the system literally just froze and went into paralysis, really. And that literally what was happening. The life force energy that I had to create, to make what I wanted in this world was frozen.
Wow.
Yeah? It was paralyzed.
Yeah.
And couldn't really move. So I became to understand then about how could I mobilize my energy again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this deep healing started to happen. And this went on for many, many years of cleaning and almost unfreezing the system, like I was in a block of ice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just mean physically, I mean emotionally as well, because when you move into these moments or these responses, these primal responses that we have, which are just natural,
Mm-hmm.
the frozen state, we can also move into dissociation.
Yeah.
And dissociation can look like spirituality. So I felt like, oh, you know, I was floating with angels, and I always had a very open connection with other dimensions. And so for me, it was a place to live of safety, but I wasn't in my physical body.
Yeah.
And I wasn't here.
Yes, I want to stop right here because I really want to present our viewers, you guys are watching, because what Zari is sharing, what he's sharing, Zari, with us, it's really so important. And that's what moved me when you and I were having our conversation. I'm like, wow, this really has to be present. The fact that you didn't know what happened, but you knew there was some trauma that was stopping from your life force flowing through your body and was stopping you from bringing in your work, your gifts into the world in a way you knew you could, but there was just something that was stopping you. And it was one of the ways you disassociated, which I think is so common for so many people. You went into the spiritual realms, right? And I know, without judgment, a lot of people do experience that. We go into meditation, we go into prayer, and we feel like a lot is happening, yet our body is still frozen emotionally and physically in a response to some trauma, where it's constant defense mechanism or flee or fly or fight, right? So I just wanted to make sure that you guys are following the importance of what happened before for Zari, so you understand, if you're there, that if you are trying to create something and you don't know what's stopping you, there could actually be some trauma that has happened you're not aware of. And there is a way that Zari will be sharing with us next. Like, there is a way through it, and it's really important to know. So please continue, Zari.
Yeah, I just wanted to say though, for some people, not all experiences become traumatic.
Yeah.
If we are able to discharge that energy and act in an empowered way at that time, it doesn't affect us in that way. We don't freeze. It's when we're not able to do that. Yeah. So there was many years of working with this, and one of the three things that I really found that were most helpful for this really was to bringing me back into my physical body, because there was no point having these experiences when I was living out in some spiritual realm and I physically wasn't present to receive the pleasures of this world, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was it, you know, as we numb out, because that's what happens when we dissociate. The body's flooded with opioids, and it's like a natural heroin that comes into our body to numb us from the pain of death, yeah, because we're in such a primal response. But it also stops our pleasure, yeah, and our joy, and also our connection to other people from our heart. And this was one of the main things that I was like, wow, you know, there's something, yeah. There's a shutdown. Sometimes it would just be like a switch, bang, and then suddenly everything would shut down. So one of the ways that I found was an incredible way to bring me back into my body was my exploration with Tantra. So I started to train and to work in this field, and that was so healing for me. But it had to be done in a very specific way. I think someone with trauma that goes into a Tantra group can experience a re-traumatization. So very, very carefully with that.
So don't do it home alone, just based on a book or a video.
Well, I don't know. If you're with your partner, you know, it's okay. But if you're going to a group full of strangers, it's a very different experience.
Good point. Okay.
Yeah. And then the other way, I was working with trauma release techniques, breath work, and then I started to train with Dr. David Baselli's practices, the TRE, the trauma release work. And this was fantastic because it was enabling the body to self-regulate itself and come out naturally out of this frozen state. So that our body naturally has the ability to recover from trauma. And it has a mechanism inside of us that allows it. And this shaking and tremoring mechanism was starting to discharge the trauma and allow me to come back into a place of safety and connection, because we can only be connected if we're safe.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So I know that there was a moment when you actually had the profound feeling, healing, when you did leave your body and then came back to it, and the body was a whole different experience of your body. Can you share just a little bit about what it was like to come back into your body and be like, wow?
Yeah, I can. Because the third technique that I was also working with at the same time was Kundalini. So I wasn't sure if my body for about 4.5 years was just shaking and tremoring, and I was having lots of awakening experiences of Kundalini, and things were changing, and it was a dark period as well. But then there was one very significant experience, and I can only describe is a huge Kundalini awakening experience where I must have gone to the edge of death, because I don't remember anything that happened, just that my third eye just exploded, and then I was out and I was gone for I don't know how long. Not long enough to die, you know,
physically.
Yeah. To that point where I remember that I obviously I wasn't breathing, because a guiding voice just said to me, you need to keep, not you, but keep this body alive and breathe. And I remember just and taking this gasp of air, coming back in, and really the only thing that I could, as my eyes opened, I was just seeing a melon pip that was in my hand, because we'd been eating some fruits and things before. And then it was just this, wow, there's a hand, and what's my name, and do I have a name, or does this consciousness have a name, does this consciousness have an age, and is this a body, and where is this, and who am I? And wow, I mean, all I could experience, knew my consciousness was as expanded consciousness. It didn't have a body. And then the experience of physically coming into a physical body was very, very strange. It was almost like a spiritual being entering into a human body for the first time, and then like, wow, like there is skin, and I have an arm, and it must have been maybe an hour before I even realized, oh, I'm female. Wow, I have breasts. This is female body, and hair, and I mean, wow, this is strange. Like, what is this on my head? You know, it was just weird. I kind of think of that. You know, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien.
Yes.
I'm an Englishman in New York. It was a bit like, wow, I feel like an alien. I'm like, wow, what happened? And so for about, I'd say about 4 hours, I was just laying on the floor. I couldn't get up. I was completely out. And it was the experience of, I would say, like supreme consciousness, and what I understood as truth and pure love and light and everything that is. In those hours, and to learn how to be in a body, to think, wow, wow, people eat here, and I'm gonna walk. How am I gonna walk? And I remember how to walk. And I have to watch people okay, I put one foot there and I do this, and so that the weeks after that was so extraordinary, because I had to learn how to do everything again. There obviously must have been the muscle memory or some memory of what was.
Yeah.
Because I'd try one thing and then it would come back to me. But then remember, oh, money, what is this? Like, what do I do with this? And a phone, like, wow, this phone. So just to come back, it took months to really integrate back into into being in kind of a normal situation of life, and holding the consciousness of what I know is. And
I loved how you shared when you and I were talking about you came back into your life, the life of the human being who was living your life before, and I remember so vividly you were sharing that Zari before was writing a book, and you came back to it and you're like, why was she writing this book? Like, wow, this is, can you share? Because I think there's so much wisdom in this, that it's like we do things busy, and then you had an awakening and realized, like, why was I even doing this? Right?
It was, yes, at that moment. So when I was coming back into consciousness and realizing, okay, there was already a consciousness in this body before, and it was almost like replacing the consciousness, a new consciousness coming into the same body and the same life, but it replaced the old one. And it was almost, I just like having the respect and the understanding and honor of everything that woman had done up until this point, that had taken and led to this moment of realization. And there were so many things, like the struggle, like really, it was a deep cry and sob of the struggle and the pain and the suffering and all the things, and the determination as well, and the ambition to really know that there was something more, and to just keep moving, even though at times that consciousness was so collapsed. At times didn't even want to live. And then to just keep knowing there's something, just know, just kind of keep moving forward. And I was writing a book. Well, I was already doing this work and to help women and to heal the sexuality and to work with this energy. But then when I, of course, it doesn't really make sense if I say that, of course, but I came back, this consciousness came back. It was like, wow, what is there to do here, actually? I don't even, what is this consciousness to do? Okay, there was a book and she was doing this and these therapies and this and that. And do I need to continue to do that? And then I felt like, wow, in honor of what was, I need to finish this book, and it needs to go out and continue with the work and see where this leads and what's happening, because there is still space for more realization. There's still there are still other levels for me to understand before I really, truly, I think, get what this whole purpose is. But as I began to work back in that field, I started to understand that. And I just wanted to explain just a bit about your question, which was, how was it to come back into this physical body? Because what happened was the consciousness that came back didn't have the story and the memory of everything that happened, because it was, wow, that was just a story, and I'm not my body, and I'm not what happened to me, and I'm not even that one that was, although I was. It's just a shift of consciousness. It's an awakening that happened. So, wow, there is so much freedom, and everything that was a block before suddenly wasn't a block. So there was just a complete wide open space. It was like experiencing freedom with there were limitations that were put there because of the mind, or because of maybe triggers that were closing down the system, were not there. So the mind must have had some kind of memory of, oh, this situation would have been a trigger, and I'm in the middle of it and going, oh, actually, shouldn't I be having a reaction? Even just maybe standing on a stage or speaking out, or all of those things. There was just a different consciousness, a different confidence, a different energy, everything was completely different. It was almost like I become the person I was supposed to be the whole time. Just the trauma got in the way of that. And when that had been cleared and removed, and the awakening of consciousness came, the road was open.
This is so beautiful. And I love how you how you even said in honor of this woman that
Yeah.
struggled, that suffered, that had trauma, that had certain experiences in life,
Mhm.
you were in honor of that and in awe, and like you had an experience of appreciation. And then I just really loved how you shared that, because I know there are a lot of people who are watching us right now who still ask, like, why did this happen to me? What, why this, why that? My life is a struggle. I had trauma. And you so beautifully just illustrated your life before, and then when you came in, your appreciation of everything this woman was working towards, like always knowing there is something else, and I know I'm going to get there. I just have to keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just deep, deep respect for that journey.
Mhm.
And also to realize the importance of that journey, because now I'm working with a lot of women and men who have got sexual trauma, that have got other kinds of trauma in their body, whether it was losing a child or birth trauma, or pelvic disease or inflammation, or whatever it is around this, the rejection of the femininity.
Yeah.
And you can't spiritually bypass, this is what I understand and learn, you can't spiritually bypass trauma. You don't think yourself out of it, which is what I tried to do, because when I originally understood, okay, wow, there was an experience, I had all the concepts of,
Yeah.
oh, not my body, it's okay, I came into this world because it was supposed to happen, and
Mhm.
it was my journey, and
Mhm.
that was all there first. And my initial reaction was spiritually bypass this whole thing. But you can't do that, because what happens is, when you can live in these concepts of, yes, and we're all one and all this, yeah, which comes very much from the mind. But then what happens, you hit a trigger, or you hit something that takes you into an automated reflex. It's so
Yeah.
fast. The whole area of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, the brain shuts down. You don't have time to spiritualize or logicate something you're already in a primitive reflex. So if you don't clear it, you just kind of just keep coming backwards and forwards. So it really had to start to work with my body, the physical body, and understand that spirituality and physiology are not two separate things.
Yes.
They do go together. And that's what I understood as this concept of this awakened consciousness that then came in, was I don't have any power just in spiritual consciousness. I only have it on this earth if I'm in a physical body.
Oh, amen. That is just such, the statement you just made, Zari, is like the underline of the whole reason why we're doing Sacred Success Salon. Your power is not just in a spiritual realm. It is when
Yeah.
you bring it into your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
work we're doing now. It's what I'm doing here in
yes.
Brazil.
Yes.
I'm helping women to get back into their physical body, to clear the trauma out, to clear the energy field, to start to feel in their physical body, to create safety back in their body, and also to reconnect with that consciousness at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah, it's
so
beautiful.
powerful. So what has tangibly changed for you? Actually, in any way, what has changed for you now? So I know you are now in this beautiful retreat and you're doing work to a whole new level. It's the same work you were doing, right?
Yeah.
Before.
Well, yes, it is, but it's just kind of, it's changed. The energetics of it have completely changed. I think now what's happened, whatever I was already for many years, around about 6 years ago, an energy or a channel opened, and I
Mm-hmm.
started to receive a lot of help from other realms.
Mm-hmm.
And so seemingly what is happening now is that a portal is being opened in this space, and yes, there's body work and tantra work and therapy and things going on, but there's another level that seems to be happening, and this is like, it's almost like the door opens and all these these spirits are coming in to assist this healing process. And we are cleaning not only on our physical level, we're cleaning for our mothers, our grandmothers, our ancestors, for our daughters, for all the women that are coming before us,
Mm-hmm.
and after us. So and it's just been incredible what's been happening, and people are just, I don't know, it's just a bit beyond words, but the energy is just being cleared for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes.
Wow.
So it's something bigger than just us that we're doing here.
Why is it happening right now, do you think?
I think it's a time. It's a time to wake up. You know, our sexual, for me, in the work with sexual energy is our life force energy. It's what we create everything with, and our world is a mess. You know, we're creating war and violence,
Yeah.
yeah? And everything. Our life force energy is contaminated with so many things that are not part of our truth. And so I think now with the Me Too movement, especially, is that many women are coming forward now to start this movement, and women are starting this movement. And men are coming on board, and it's great. We need more men. We
Yeah.
need more men to show up and help this process, because women can't do it all alone. And we need to really clean up this energy so that we can create peace, not only ourselves, but in our worlds, because our Mother Earth is feminine, and the abuse that we are inflicting on our world, on our mother,
Mm-hmm.
is also the abuse of the feminine. So we have to change this. We're going nowhere really, except down a hole, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. So beautiful. So, what is one thing? If there is a woman watching us right now, and she's had some trauma. She knows she's had some trauma, and she's done many things to work through it. Yet she's still like, banging her head against the wall. Like, what is it gonna take? What is it gonna take? What wisdom can you share with her that's going to help her keep moving? And I'm going to ask you to because I love how you said at one point you are able to hold both the reverence for the woman that you were and who you are right now. So speak from both parts to somebody who is where you were before that awakening that you had.
I think it's the soul has a deeper longing inside that really knows and is trying to make its way home. And we really have to hold on to that longing and to follow that longing where it's taking us, even if it's feeling like it's taking us into the darkest depths of the bowels of the earth, which can be like that for trauma or even any spiritual journey, to awaken out of the illusion and this Maya. It isn't just like, oh, it doesn't happen I don't think it just happens just like someone's going to give it to you on a plate.
Yeah.
I was saying this to the girls just this weekend now. We're not going to give you, oh, there's your sacred feminine. There you go, have it now. You're going to work for it. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to experience life, all the range of emotions. And there's no right or wrong emotion. There's no one that is, more valued than another. Every single thing has its place. And in order to fully realize, I think, what is not, what is, we have to also understand what is not. Mm-hmm. And so without judgment of where you are, what you're feeling, and to just let go of that, and just to bring love and compassion into it, and just to know that everything is okay. Everything is okay. Mm. And just to keep moving and to keep following that longing, that even though it feels like there's so many times I wanted to give up, I wanted to die, I just didn't want to even be here, take me out, I don't even want to be in this body or this earth, why am I even here? Mm-hmm. And then to understand, that the importance of that process was so important, and to really honor what we are going through as spiritual beings, understanding having this human experience that we are having. Yeah. And to also try to focus on some of the joy and pleasures in life as well, because it's easy to get hung up on this hard spiritual road and crying and I'm having a rebirth of the soul, or I'm having the dark night of the soul, and we go through so much pain. Yeah. And sometimes I think we also forget to just look for the light, because that is important. And if we keep looking in the darkness and keep processing, although we will keep processing, we keep going, oh, I need to do another thing and another thing and another thing, the ego's never going to be enough. And sometimes we can do so much work, you have to stop and just to start to look for the light areas as well. We can't have just the darkness. We do need to hold this space for ourselves too.
Yeah,
So,
I love
yeah,
that. What I just heard was a permission to see, like when you say light, I know you mean the light dark, but I also sense like lightness in our being.
to
And
laugh,
right?
play,
Yes.
yes, just to give permission to do what our heart really wants. You know,
Mhm.
it's not all about suffering here. We're not here on this earth just to suffer.
Yeah.
No, we're not. We're here to really have pleasure, and that's what I want to bring back in. And that's one of the most incredible things that I brought back into my body and my experience was
Mhm.
pleasure, play, peace, you know, joy, happiness, waking up feeling happy and feeling alive and feeling so grateful to be here. And wow, like, wow, what's going to happen today? And it was so beautiful. And I really feel like everybody just to keep moving to that realization that that can happen and that does happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, just keep following it. And I never gave up. And I had a lot of faith, I think, in
Mm.
not, I mean, faith in something bigger than me, in guides and angels and the divine presence that I felt around me during this process, because it's very difficult to think that you're alone here and you have to do it alone. And you don't. We have hundreds of thousands of guides and help and energies around us that are encouraging us to take this path.
Yes, that is so, yeah, that's so beautiful. And we have a conversation with several of our guests to start opening up to, you know, we have all this support. We are not here doing this alone. And let's be open to it, start opening up to it. That's so beautiful. Zari, you are just, oh, you are just so soothing and so, yeah, like even your presence is so healing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So I know you have, do you want to say something?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
you good. Okay. Do you, because sometimes I get on my little roll. So I know you have a gift for our guests, for our viewers, to get into your world and get to experience you. Could you share what it is?
Yes, I'm going to offer a gift for women. It's a nourishing meditation.
Mhm.
It's about opening the heart and reconnecting with our heart. And through that process, reconnecting with the breasts, because they are also connected to the heart center
Mhm.
and our femininity. And it's beautiful. It's very nourishing, very fulfilling. And I think as women, we need to also start to create the energy that we want in our own body and start to create that rather than looking outside all the time for what it is that we need. Our source is here, and we have to activate those ancient memories and wisdom and power that we hold inside of ourselves.
Yes. Oh, that is so powerful right there. Stop looking on the outside and really create that feeling, the sensations that you want to experience inside of your body first. And even though I know you said it's made for women, but when we were discussing what would be a good to be of service to our viewers, there might be some men watching right now, and I want you men to hear that even though this meditation is for women, I saw it as an opportunity for maybe you men watching us. If you hear, you probably are already in touch with your feminine energy, and maybe this meditation will give you an access to a heart opening from a very different perspective than you ever have before. So don't shy away from it.
Just moving the energy, it's not even a touch meditation. You don't have to touch, just moving the energy field around the heart center and around these areas, these pinnacles of delight and pleasure
Yes.
around that area begins to start to open and circulate the heart center anyway. So it's putting us back in touch with our love and compassion and empathy.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful and so needed. So you guys watching us, you know the drill. Make sure you go the button right below this video. That's where you claim Zari's gift to get into her beautiful world. And Zari, thank you. I have one closing question for you that I get to ask every guest.
Mm-hmm.
What is your definition of success for the world?
I like living fully in our energy, in our life force, in our body, and being able to actualize our soul's purpose here, what we're supposed to be doing. So, and mostly being happy here. That's success for me. To be happy, to receive pleasure, to just to enjoy this experience that we have whilst we have it. We don't know how long we have it, so we need to appreciate it for however long this is.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Mm.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Zari, for your wisdom, your presence, your healing energy, which is so very present in this interview right now. And you watching us, make sure you download Zari's gift right below this video. Again, get into Zari's world, get the experience of what it's like to have been living in body with trauma, and then body that's free of trauma. I think it's just such a gift. Thank you again, Zari, for being here in Sacred Success.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. And you guys will see you at the next conversation. Bye for now.